Hey, all about fishing with Big Kev. Hey, stay tuned. I've got some cool regulations about the Kansas State Parks fishing laws. Hey, welcome back to All About Fishing with Big Kev. Hey, 2025 Kansas Fishing Regulation Summary. This book right here should be in every boat, every vehicle, and every tackle box of every angler. You should have got one when you bought your license. If you didn't, go get one. They're free. It's online as well. I'm going to touch a couple things that this book has that's very important for everybody to know. I know a lot of your seasoned anglers are very familiar with this, but I want to go over it. We got a lot of new anglers out there, people that are wanting to get involved. So let's get the rules out there. Let's get everybody legal, and let's make sure everybody has fun. So real quick in this book, it's going to talk to you about licensing right at the very front. It's going to talk about licenses, permits, and fees. 16 and over, fishing license required. It's got all the fees right here. And regular and you know, all the way from seniors, non-resident, fishing only, hunting and fishing combo, you name it, the fees are there. Just a standard fishing license for a resident is $27.50. There's a little break for some youth in there for about a 3 or 4 year period for around $40. You can go for, you know, while you're in school, and then your seniors, it steps a cheaper rate when you get older. So check it out. It's worth knowing. Then you can always get the lifetime if you want, and you never have to worry about that again. But and it talks about your 3-pole license, you know, paddle fish, trout permits, hand fishing permits, all that information. Boat registration, all the fees and licenses, permits required. The next bit of information that's very useful in this, and this is the one that I use probably every time I go on the lake, because my memory's not worth a darn, and so I always, or you know, even if I've gone that lake 100 times, I still check it. This can change every year. You could go to, let's just say Milford Lake. I go to Milford Lake, and I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, Milford had a rule on blue cats, and then now it has changed, and the rule for the length limit has changed, and so the law changed. So you got to keep up to date every year. So every year, get this free book, put it in your fishing possessions that you're, you know, put it in your tackle box. You're going fishing, you got your tackle box, and you got this. If you're going fishing in your boat, put it in your boat. I put it in my truck and my boat, so if I don't have my boat, I got it in my truck. So this is every state lake, reservoir, county lake, city pond or whatever, the rules of how many fish you can keep of what species, and their length limits are required, and the creel limit. Creel limit is how many you can keep. So make sure you have this. So Milford's on here, Melbourne, Marion, Toronto, Tuttle Creek, Canopolis, Hillsdale, Fall River, Elk City. They're all on here. So please read this. It's interesting, and I'm always constantly referring back to it. The next part that's really good in this book, that everybody needs to be aware of this. Anybody that's an angler with a boat or on shore, your aquatic invasive species, what they are, how to keep from spreading them, and also it talks to you about how you can do live bait by catching minnows and stuff in the lake, and then transferring them to another lake. Are you allowed to do that? How that works, it's all in this book. Okay? So that's another big portion of this. Very interesting. Even weeds and things like that. Invasive species. And then a really cool one in the back. It's got all the species of fish, what they look like, some information about them, and how to tell what you got. And the biggest one that's probably confusing is the wiper white bass. And if you catch these, they look almost the same, other than some have some little darker striping than others. But if you're doing it fast and you don't know what to look for, there's a tongue patch on each one of these fish, and the white bass has a single tongue patch, where up here you can see where the wiper has two patches, and so does the striper. Where does that come in hand? White bass, usually you can catch as many as you want. So it doesn't matter how many fish you catch, you can keep as many white bass as you want, depending on where you're at. Read your guidelines, read your creel limits. Wiper, on the other hand, let's say at Milford Lake, I can go catch 50 white bass. But at Milford Lake, I can only keep 5 wiper. So if I go out and catch 50 white bass and all of a sudden 25 of them are wipers, I'm seriously in violation, and that's not good. If a game warden should stop and talk to you. Plus, we want to try to stay within the limits so that we keep everybody's angling at as best that we can. Okay? So it talks about that and all the species and their characteristics, and it's really a cool book. And talks about different fishing programs, CFAP, things like that. And just some camping information in here and some other things. And then your state records are in here, a list of biologists in the areas, hatcheries, programs, game wardens if you should need one for some reason. The new tags, those are pretty cool for Kansas. That's pretty cool tags. But there's just a lot of good information in this book. But anglers, please, put this in your boat, put it in your truck, put it in your tackle box. It's the Bible to fishing. It's free. It's online as well. I like the paper copies myself. Cell phone service is not always available, so I always like to keep a paper copy. So hey, all about fishing with Big Kev. Like and subscribe. Hopefully this has educated a lot of you anglers about these books, what they do, and what their purpose is. I hope that helps you when you open it up. You're not so lost in it. It explains kind of what it's trying to tell you, because it's a very important book. Every year this changes. So just because you got this one for 25, next year they're going to come out with a 26, and some of the laws could change. So don't go off last year's book thinking it's okay for this year. So, all about fishing with Big Kev. Hey, I'm seeing pictures. The ice is off the water. I've been sick with bronchitis, so I'm kind of hanging back a little bit. Not trying to do it too much, but I want to get well, and I'm going to get in that boat, and I'm going to go see what I can do. Tie lines, everyone. Take care. Stay safe this year. Stay within the law. So we'll see you later.